I saw this style on Pinterest and I was like, I should try this out. And then I have this material. This is a very beautiful silk material that I'm going to be using. So you're going to fold your paper into two and you're going to use your bust round to check if your paper is enough. So my bust round is 9, so you can see. Then I have like extra 3 inches for allowance. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this my paper just so I can use one for the front pattern and the other for the back pattern. So now I am going to start with my shoulder measurement, which is 7. Then from there you will go down by 1 inch for your shoulder slope, and you just connect this line back to the neck area. Then you're going to take your armhole, which is your bust round divided by 6 plus 1.5, and mine is 7.5. Then from there you're going to make sure that it matches with your shoulder, and mine is 7, so I went ahead to adjust that very well. Then you're going to be connecting from your shoulder slope down to where you marked your armhole. So right there where our armhole stopped is going to be our chest line, so I just went ahead to draw a line there. And the next thing is to find the middle of your armhole just so we can get our armhole curve. So I went ahead to fold my tape rule, and right there is the middle of my armhole. So from there you're going to go in by 1/2 inch. Then on your chest line you're going to mark the quarter of your bust measurement, and mine is 9 inches. And then you're just going to connect from your shoulder slope to the middle of your armhole right there down to the quarter of your bust measurement, and that is going to form your armhole curve. And the next thing I'm going to do is take my vertical measurements from my shoulder to my bust point, which is 11 inches. Then I'm going to also go ahead and rule a line across there just so we know which is which. And the next thing is to take from my shoulder to my under bust, which is 15 inches. Then I'm going to take from my shoulder to my waist measurement, which is 20 inches, and then right there is the length of my top, which is at 23 inches. So this paper is just enough for the length of my top. Now I'm just going in to label these: my chest, my bust point, my under bust, my waist, and the length of my top. So the next thing we are going to do is take our bust pan, which is also nipple to nipple measurement. So you're going to measure out your nipple to nipple and divide by 2, and mine is 4 inch. So I'm just going in now from the middle to take my nipple to nipple measurement, and you're going to be taking this from your bust point down to the length of your top. The next thing you're going to do is take your dart. So from your bust point, you will come down by 1 inch, and on the length of your top, you're going to come out by 1/2 inch on both sides. Then you're just going to go ahead and connect these dots, okay, from the length down to the place where you came down by 1 inch from your bust point. You will connect this also for the 2 sides, and then you formed your darts. So guys, I went ahead to take my shoulder dart, which wasn't really necessary. So please go ahead and skip this part, okay? Now I'm just showing you guys the style. There's an arc going upwards from the under bust. So we're just going to take this arc right now. From my under bust, I came up by 1.5. You can see where I marked it right there. You can come up by 2 inches if you want, and then place your pattern master from your under bust line and rule a line going upwards, okay, to form that line. You can take 2 inches if you want it to go up very well. Then you want to go ahead and take your neck measurement. I took 3 inches for mine, but I went ahead to increase this later on to 4 inches. Then from there, you're going to rule a line from your neck down to the place where you came up from your under bust. This is going to form that V neck shape line, okay? Then what I'm doing now is just to take my round measurements. So while you're taking your round measurements, please do make sure that you replace your darts and also add your stitching allowance. So guys, you're going to divide this right here where I'm dividing it, okay, from the place where you came up from your under bust. Remember that it has a joining right there, and we're going to be doing slash and spread on the top part of our top, okay? Hope you understand. And then this dart right here at the down part, we are going to be covering this dart just like this. So you can use your sellotape or your gum to cover this right up, and then we'll go ahead and shape it out very well. So this is where I went ahead to, give it an extra inch because I was thinking it wasn't V very well, like the shape wasn't coming out very well. So I went in again by 1 inch on my neck round, okay, just like as you can see. And from there I drew a line down again to that point where I came up from my under bust and just went ahead to divide it. So you can see what it's looking like now. And then at this point, I was really wondering why I took this shoulder dart, because honestly, it wasn't really necessary for me. So the next thing we're going to do now is to slash this. I'm going to be using these dotted lines because there are already so many lines on these parts, okay, just so you guys don't get confused. So I'm just drawing this line. I'm not using any form of measurement. I'm just drawing it, giving a reasonable amount of space after the first one, and just go ahead to slash these. Make sure not to divide it when you are going towards your shoulder, okay? It's going to be joined at the shoulder part, okay? So now I'm going to be using my brown paper to spread it on it, and you can see I'm just using my sellotape to place the first slash, and then I am giving a space of 1.5 inch after the first slash. You can go ahead and make yours 2 inches, 3 inches. I was actually trying to manage my material, okay? So when you are done, you're going to be using your pattern master or even your free hand to retrace that curve down there, and then just go ahead and trim out this paper that you used to spread on. Trim it out very well to go back to the shape of the top part of this top. So you can see what it looks like. You can see how beautiful this looks. I really love what it's looking like. So I'm just showing you guys now that we're going to be pleating this back to this down part of our top, okay, to form that ruche that you would see on the bust part of the style. Now for the back pattern, I've already gone ahead to draw my basic bodice. Then the next thing I'm going to do now is to take my round measurements, making sure that I replace my darts and also add my stitching allowance. So guys, remember that the front part has a division on the under bust, so you do the same thing also for the back part. Divide it by the under bust and also cover that dart at the downside. You can use your sellotape or your gum to cover that dart at the downside. And then these darts on this top part, you're not going to be covering it, okay? We're not going to be covering it. We're going to be pleating it on the material, okay? We're going to be stitching this dart on our fabric, so no need to cover it. And this is what we have. So this is what we have for the back pattern, and this is what we have for the front pattern. Next thing we are going to do now is to go ahead and cut this out on our fabric. So now I've gone ahead to cut it out of my fabric. You can see this is the top part of our top, and you can see how it looks or what it looks like. And then I also went ahead to cut out this little piece as my lining. Honestly, I would have loved to cut out a full lining, but I was just trying to economize my fabric. So I just went ahead to cut out this little piece that I'm going to be using to turn out the neck of my top, as you can see. So I'll just go right to stitch this together on my sewing machine. I've gone ahead to stitch this and turn it around. I also went ahead to give it a very good pressing. As you can see what it's looking like. Now for the down part of the front piece, make sure to add your allowance around when you are cutting this out. And it's also going to be having a loop, which is going to be used with a button on the center front. Then I also went ahead to cut out a full lining for this down part, just to make the inner part of the top be more neat. Now I've gone ahead to put in my looms, and you can see what it is looking like. The next thing I'm going to do is to attach the top part to the down part, and for this we're going to be pleating this top part to form that ruchness on the bust area in the style of our top. Okay, so just like I'm doing right now, you're going to be placing the top part down to the down part. So you can see what it's looking like. I am done with attaching my own, and I also did this for the both sides of our front piece. Now for the back piece, make sure that you cut this on fold. Okay, there's not going to be any opening, no zip, since we already have a button in front. Then I also went ahead to cut out this lining piece that I'm going to be using to turn the neck part. Now this is the down part of our back piece, and you can see that I also went ahead to cut this out on fold. There is no opening, there is no zip or button. Then I also went ahead to cut out a full lining for this also. Then we are going to be attaching our down piece to the upper part of our back piece. Okay, then here I'm just marking exactly where my darts are, and I'm going to be attaching this right on my fabric. You can see how I am placing it. The next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and stitch this right up on my sewing machine, and please do make sure to give this a very good press. Now the next thing we are going to do is to join the front to the back piece. Go ahead and join this by the shoulders first, and then shape it out on both sides. So now you can see how beautiful that this top is already looking. I've gone ahead to join this up by the shoulders and by the sides, and I also went ahead to give this a very good press, and you can see how it's looking. Now for the lining piece, remember that the down part has a full lining piece. Okay, now I'm going to be joining this up by the sides. Just look at what I'm doing. I'm going to be placing this up together, the front on the back piece, and I'm going to be shaping this out. Now I've gone ahead to shape this out, and you can see what it's looking like. Now we are going to be using this to turn the down part of our top. Okay, please do not be confused, just look at what I am doing so you'll get it very well. Now for this down part, we are going to be placing our top like so, just like I've placed it. You're going to be folding it like I'm doing right now, and then we are going to be using that down part, that lining part, we're going to be placing it on top of our top like this. So make sure that when you fold these, make sure to please open up your seams. Make sure that your seams are flat where you join these by the sides, and then go ahead and place your lining right on top of your top, just like I'm doing now. So you only do this method if you don't have a full lining. Okay, if you have a full lining both for the front and the down part, you don't need to do this. Just go ahead and turn everything out at once. So please make sure that you also turn out that loop area, which is very, very important. I'm going to be using my lining to also turn out the loop area, and also for the other side. Now I am done with turning this right up, and you can see what it's looking like. It's already looking very nice and very beautiful, and you can see the inside there is looking more neater. So please do go ahead and give this a very good press. Okay, so now the next thing we are going to do is to turn the down parts. Okay, because the down part also has to be turned so that this our top is going to be very neat. So what I'm doing now is to just basically fold the top part inside. It's going to be in between these two linings. Just look at what I'm doing now. I'm folding it inside, and then next thing I'm going to do is to stitch this right up and leave just a very little opening where I will turn everything up around from. So now I've gone ahead to stitch this, and I left a very tiny opening down there where I would turn everything out from. So now let me just go ahead and turn this, and you would see what it's looking like. So guys, can you see what it's looking like? I really love the outcome. This is that little opening that I left. I'm going to be doing a top stitch there, okay, to cover up that part. And please go ahead to give this a very good press. And you can see how beautiful this top is already looking. The next thing we're going to do is to slash and spread on our sleeve. So I've gone ahead to draft out my sleeve pattern, okay. I might be doing a tutorial on how to draft out your sleeve pattern if requested. So if you want me to do a tutorial on how to draft out a basic sleeve pattern, please do let me know in the comment section. So I just drew lines randomly with no measurements up to 4 places. So we're going to be spreading this on our fabric when we are cutting on our fabric. When joining your sleeve to your top, we're going to be pleating this, okay. Remember that we did slash and spread on our sleeve, so therefore it is bigger than our armhole length. So you're going to be pleating this on your armhole to form that beautiful puffy look when you are done. And also at the down part at the wrist area, we are going to be using an elastic band to also form a beautiful ruche down there. So guys, I went ahead to lay my top on the floor to show you guys the final look. So you can see my arc there from my under bust. You can come up with 2.5 inch or 3 inch if you want yours to be higher than what mine is looking like. I've also gone ahead to fix in my sleeve and also put in these beautiful white stone buttons, and I really love the outcome of this top. Please go ahead and try this out for yourself, and I'm very sure you would come out with something really beautiful.